I'm sad that football's almost over. We only got like 2 months left of NFL and college football combined. But I want to take this time to really thank you guys for all your support throughout this entire series. I really enjoyed sharing my football knowledge with all of you. And to all the naysayers telling me to stop, fuck you. And also, I ain't stopping at all. Anyways, welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. We're in episode 41. I didn't even realize we went through 40 episodes already. Man, time flies by. Anyways, we got conference championship reactions along with the reaction to the final college football playoff bracket. Yep, it came out yesterday. Those of you who are watching for the first time, I will leave a link in the description to the entire playlist with every single episode in there, so you guys can watch every single episode, binge watch them, however you want to do it. Make sure you're all caught up and also have it for future videos whenever I post them. You could see the progress I have made since that first episode that I had. I gotta really come clean. That first episode was a disaster. But as one person said, it's not about how you start, it's how you finish. Also, make sure you hit the red subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. And also make sure you smash that like button. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the conference championships. Also, I'm going to be doing the ones that have playoff berths on the line. So sorry to the American Conference, Conference USA, the MAC, and the Sun Belt. You won't be mentioned for this video, but I was glad that I was able to give you guys a moment of fame. No offense, of course. Kicking things off, we had the one conference championship out of the group of 5 that had playoff implications, that being the Mountain West championship game between 20th ranked UNLV and 10th Boise State, with Boise State coming out on top with a 21-7 victory. This also means that Boise State is getting a first-round bye in the college football playoffs, which is absolutely insane for a group of 5 school like Boise. And I also heard that they're going to be joining the Pac-12 in a couple of years. That's really exciting for them. It's going to boost a lot of money, recruitment, all that stuff. As you see with the passing stat, H&W of UNLV had 13-28 for 110 yards. He didn't have a really good game. He had 0 touchdowns and a pick. And Maddox Madison, 18-27 for 160 yards and a touchdown. He wasn't the main man in the show though. But I gotta say, the rushing game for both teams were actually very impressive. Greg Burrell got the only touchdown, but Kylan Jeans had 2 carries for 95 yards, leading the team in rushing yards. But for Boise, it was a one-man show. Ashton Jeanty, 32 carries, 200 yards and a touchdown. Max Madison also had a rushing touchdown. But let me just say, Jeanty better win the Heisman. The Heisman ceremony is actually going to be on the 14th, I'm very sure. And I'm really hoping between Jeanty and Hunter, as much as I love Travis Hunter since he is from the state of Georgia, I think Jeanty deserves it a lot more. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, me and ESPN or whoever decides the Heisman votes, we do not correlate at all. And really, the only guy to really look at for receiving was Latrell Caples, who had a touchdown. 2 main players for UNLV's defense I want to highlight. The only sack of the game came from Fisher Kamak, I think that's how you say it, and Jackson Woodard had double-digit tackles. Not much else to say for UNLV except you just couldn't stop Jeanty for 1 split second. I think you did a good job the last time you played Boise State, but then this time, yeah, Jeanty knew exactly what defense you guys were running, and he ran away with 200 rushing yards. But good heavens, Boise State's defense came out to play with 6 total sacks, 2 from Marco Notarini. I don't know how to say it. 1 turnover in this game, and that came from Jeremiah Irby's interception. There was also a forced fumble by a double-digit tackler, Seyi Oladipo. Boise State's only loss was to the only undefeated team in the country, and man, did Boise State prove that they belong in the playoffs. Good for them. Shock the world, Boise. We're all counting on you. And now we're moving on to the Power 4 Conference Championship games. First up, we had an absolute massacre in the Big 12 Championship game with Arizona State putting belt to ass against Iowa State 45-19. Iowa State kept it close in the first half, but as soon as the third quarter hit, it was just game over. Seriously. Unfortunately for the Cyclones, this makes them 0-2 in Big 12 championship games. First berth since 2020 when they had Brock Purdy as a quarterback and they lost to Oklahoma in their chance for a playoff berth. Unfortunately, a guy named, well, you're going to see the rushing stats and you're going to be freaking mind blown. You're going to be mind boggled. Passing for both teams was actually kind of impressive. I mean, Sam Leavitt, that's how you say it. You're supposed to say Leavitt. I called him Leavitt. I do apologize to Arizona State fans for calling him Leavitt. It's Leavitt. 12 of 17 for 220 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Rocco Becht, 21 of 35. He threw 35 times. Damn. 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Those quarterbacks have some solid numbers. Let me get Iowa State's receiving and rushing out of the way before I get to the guy at the top of the screen that you see right now. Not much really to show for rushing, but receiving, we had Jaden Higgins have 7 catches for 115 yards, and the 2 receiving touchdowns came from Carson Hansen and Jalen Noel. Xavier Guillory had 2 catches and 2 touchdowns on the day, and Sam Leavitt also had a rushing touchdown in this game, so we had 4 total touchdowns for himself. But the man at the top of the screen was the man on a mission this game. Cam Scannabo, I think I talked about him in the short. Go ahead and check that out as well. 16 carries, 10 yards a carry, 170 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and he had a receiving touchdown. He had 200 total yards and 3 touchdowns in the Big 12 championship game. My God, that is unbelievable. If someone said Cam Scannabo did not deserve Big 12 game MVP, give me your face, let me slap it, because that is fucking ridiculous. The stat line he put up. If I'm not mistaken, I think Arizona State forced 3 turnovers in the third quarter alone. 2 fumbles and an interception. Keith Anthony got the pick. Javon Robinson, Shamari Simmons got forced fumbles with Jeffrey Clark and Justin Watley. I hope I said that name right. With the recoveries. All I can say for Iowa State's defense is Cam Scannabo just cooked you guys up. And there was literally nothing you could do. Like, good luck tackling this guy. I mean, that man made the Iowa State defense look like they were on skates. Skates in an ice hockey game, of course. What an ass whooping that Arizona State handed in the Big 12 championship game. I am hoping you guys make a good run in the playoffs, but not exactly likely, especially when you have Texas in your bracket, but good luck anyways. Up next, we had our only overtime conference championship game where Georgia was able to outlast Texas in only 1 overtime. Only 1. 22-19. This was a defensive battle for the ages. Both of these teams proved that they could be championship contenders. Don't sleep on those 2 offenses. They got some sneaky good quarterbacks. I know Carson Beck is a turnover machine, but he's basically college football's Josh Allen at this point. Well, Josh Allen from last year. Obviously, this year's a little different, but anyways. Oh yeah, and Quinn Ewers was still at Texas. Our training season is coming next year, and I am excited. Obviously, the quarterback room completely struggled. Quinn Ewers had 360 passing yards of 27 of 46, 1 touchdown and 2 picks, and the 3 quarterbacks that you see on the screen for Georgia combined for, I believe, 130 yards and an interception, no touchdowns. Yeah, quarterback performance was pretty bad. Rushing game non-existent for Texas, but for Georgia, Trevor Etienne was the main man at running back. 2 touchdowns and almost 100 yards rushing. And as for receiving, not so much really to show for Georgia, but for Texas, 2 players had 100 receiving yards. Matthew Golden with 8 for 162, and DeAndre Moore with 9 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Texas had some offense, but it was just the turnovers were just killers. 6 sacks for the Georgia's defense, and Dalen Everett had 2 interceptions this game, and Fairchild had a fumble recovery along with that. The defense has really showed up for this game, let me tell you. 3 sacks for Texas. We also had 4 forced fumbles with only 1 being recovered by Anthony Hill, and we also saw a Jade Barron interception. That was when Gunnar Stockton threw it right to the defender for an interception. It was really bad. I also want to give a shout out to both kickers, Burt Auburn and Peyton Woodring, for getting double-digit points in this game. Tough defensive battle. It's going to be tough to really limit the potential that these two defenses can really go, especially if you're Boise State or, I don't know, Notre Dame. Notre Dame probably will get killed in the second round if they handle business with Indiana, but oh boy, it's going to be hard to stop these teams from going to a national championship. Up next, we had an absolute shootout of a Big Ten championship between third-ranked Penn State and top-ranked Oregon, with the Ducks coming out on top to stay unbeaten, 45-37. Both these teams were very much wow factors on offense, but defense, yeesh. Remember the start that Oregon had on defense? Oh boy. I mean, well, defense against Idaho was pretty good, but the offense struggled mightily. And in the Boise State game, it was the opposite. But look at the Ducks now. They're 13-0 with 2 big wins against 2 of the best Big Ten teams other than them. Both of these quarterbacks put on a clinic. Dylan Gabriel, 280 yards on 22 of 32 for 4 touchdowns. And aside from the 2 interceptions for Drew Aller, he had 20 of 39 for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. And yes, the rushing games for both teams were spectacular. Jordan James, both touchdowns on 87 rushing yards. You also had Tez Johnson get 11 catches for 180 yards and a touchdown, with 2 touchdowns going to Kenyon Sadig and Terrence Ferguson also getting into touchdown for Oregon. As for Penn State, man, Oregon's defense couldn't stop the rushing game. They played Boise State a game, I don't know, it would have been a close game again, because Katrin Allen and Nicholas Singleton combined for almost 240 yards. Allen got a touchdown, and so did Drew Aller. Leading receiver for Penn State was Tyler Warren, who had 7 catches for 84 yards. Harrison Wallace had a heck of a catch in traffic for a touchdown. Amari Evans had a touchdown, and so did Singleton. Man, both running backs combined for 280 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Very impressive stuff from Penn State's running room. Not much to really show for Oregon's defense except the 2 interceptions, including one from Nico Reed that pretty much sealed the game, and also one from Dante Manning. And as for Penn State, only 1 sack. They did have a forced fumble, but Gabriel was able to fall back on top of it. And yes, I did see that play. A very impressive offensive showing for both teams. Oh boy, those teams that they have coming up, they better watch out for these offenses because they're going to be cooking in the playoffs. You better have the defense to be ready for that. Otherwise, they're going to start tearing you like a piece of meat. And finally, we have the ACC Championship, which I did not think this was going to be a close game. But in the end, Clemson with a game-winning field goal to beat SMU. Clemson was 17th and SMU was 8th. 34-31 the final for Clemson. SMU was actually down 24-7 in the first half, like at halftime, and then all of a sudden they tied the game up with 16 seconds left, and then Clemson drove down the field on I think 1 play and was able to kick a game-winning field goal from 56 yards. If you don't include the first half for Kevin Jennings, the entire game was really good for both quarterbacks. I mean, Cade Klubnik had 260 yards on passing, 24-41, and 4 passing touchdowns. Kevin Jennings threw 50 times, 31 completions, 300 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and interception, but he also had a rushing touchdown. Rushing was kind of non-existent for Clemson, but Brashard Smith actually tore it up with 113 rushing yards. As for Clemson's receiving game, Bryant Wesco, 8 catches, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The other receiver with 2 touchdowns was Jake Brenningstool. And as for SMU, Roger Daniels, 8 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Brashard Smith also got a receiving touchdown along with Matthew Hidner. 2 sacks, 2 turnovers for Clemson's defense. A forced fumble and a recovery by TJ Parker. Interception by Khalil Barnes. Oh yeah, and shout out to Sammy Brown for 14 tackles. Same thing with Kobe Wilson with 15 tackles for SMU and 1 forced fumble, but no turnovers for SMU's defense, which is a big shame. Considering they were able to get 3 sacks in this game, quite surprising, honestly. Nolan Hosser was the hero of the game with the 56-yard game winner, along with having 10 points on the game, including 4 extra points and 2 made field goals. He missed 1 though. Does this game single-handedly kick Alabama out of the playoffs? Only one way to find out. Let's get to the bracket. And ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for, we have the final college football playoff bracket. This is all finalized. No more weeks to really prove themselves of being worthy. This is it. This is really what's on the line right here. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, the SMU Clemson ACC Championship Instant Classic single-handedly knocked Alabama out of the playoffs. And guess what? The cherry on top was the fact that Alabama got invited to the ReliaQuest Bowl. Keep on crying, Paulie Feinbaum, and also the SEC and Bama fans. Like, come on, man. You guys never deserved it in the first place with your 3 losses, including a 24-3 beatdown at the hands of Oklahoma. We got Oregon undefeated at number 1 seed, Georgia 2 seed after winning the ACC championship. Boise State, group of 5 team. Mountain West champion gets the 3 seed as the 3rd highest ranked conference champion. Arizona State gets the 4 seed. And because Clemson is 16th in the rankings, yeah, I'm not going to show you playoff rankings because honestly, they don't really matter as much, to be fair. But anyways, Clemson was the 16th ranked team in the playoff poll, so they got the 12th seed. Texas, the best at large. For some reason, they only dropped 1 spot, and so did Penn State for some reason. Notre Dame with an 11-1 record gets the 7th seed. Ohio State only gets the 8th seed. At least they got a home game. Tennessee, Indiana, and SMU round out the at-larges that have to play on the road. What about BYU? Well, we're in the Alamo Bowl playing against Coach Prime in Colorado. Deion's already said that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter will be playing their final game in San Antonio in the Alamo Bowl. Can't wait for a first bowl game in the Big 12 as a Big 12 member for BYU. But more importantly, this is the final bracket, and I can't wait to see what kind of twists and turns this will have in 2 weeks. I'm very sure that's when it starts. Hope you're ready for the playoffs, because I am. And that's going to do it for this episode of Grizzly Talks Football. Once again, if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you smash that like button, hit the red subscribe button down there, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Grizz, and that's all from me. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.